uh, part two here. But like I said, 9 of them were previewed on the Disney Channel beforehand. So anyway, that basically what New Partners on the Block is in a nutshell. I know some of you might say, "Well, you just spoiled it. Why would we need to watch the episode if you just spoiled it?" But like I said, that's basically New Partners on the Block in a nutshell. Now, overall, the episode was good. It was a nice transition. It was a nice transition. I did like, how, like I mentioned in the other videos, and I'll say it here. I do like how Larry Lantham realized that he was going to have a potential problem if he didn't have something that was going to solve that problem. And when he up with New Partners on the Block, obviously he went and worked with Dwayne Capizza. He worked with Greg Weismer, got that going right there to see what the connection was between Bonkers and Miranda and how everybody else interacted. And just a just a very well done job. I like how they give you that feel that you got when you watched the Going Bonkers pilot episode, a pilot movie. They gave you that exact same feel here with New Partners. I love the fact that they brought that dark environment back that you saw in Going Bonkers. I like how they gave you a villain right off the bat. You would think, oh man, if they wanted to do two parts, this guy would be good for a two-part deal, and all that. But yet he was only there for one episode. But yeah, I like how they put emphasis on this villain, on this criminal, this bomber terrorist, right off the bat. I do like that. I like how they get Miranda involved right off the bat. So it really set the tone, you could tell, just by all that happening in the first few minutes. I mean, the moment Miranda stands up and helps the chief out, showing him what his note is, or finding the note and putting it back in his hand, you pretty much knew that if you didn't know about Miranda till then, you pretty much knew that was going to be Bonker's partner right there. And again, I love how they led up to it. I love the hints and the cameo kind of thing that they threw in there. Like I said, the cameo she made when she was the secretary or desk secretary to the chief. The hint at the end of the final review about him having a female partner and maybe it being a blonde. And, I love how they kind of secretly Easter eggs you all the way up to this, Easter eggs you here and there with that, up to this moment, up to this episode. I like that. I did like that they brought back the characters from Going Bonkers that were always associated with Bonkers, like Fawn, Jitters, and Grumbles. I like that. It kind of pretty much, and that's what really surprised me. I'll be honest with you. When I saw New Partners on the Block, I got the feeling as soon as and this is the honest to God truth, when I saw Miranda stand up, part of me was like, okay, there's Bonkers' partner right there, or something like that. Well, not really, but pretty much when I saw Miranda, stand up and make her presence known, I was like, okay, she's going to be part of this somehow. And then as I watched the rest of the episode, I kind of got the idea, even as she was comforting Bonkers, trying to help him feel better, right then and there, it told me she's going to be his partner. That's what they mean by the title, New Partners on the Block. That's what they mean right there. And again, I like how they brought back the characters to kind of emphasize to you that this, even though it was just a one episode deal, was just as important, just as prominent, as the pilot was. Because in a sense, this was not just a sequel to Going Bonkers. This, in a sense, was the pilot episode for the Miranda episodes, for the Miranda era. And I like that. I really, really like that. I like how they did that. I like how they brought the characters back. Kind of made a lot of things come full circle, if you will. I love how they did that. So it was really, to me, really just a really special feel to see all that come full circle right then and there. But like I say, come full circle right then and there. I like how they did that. Overall, it's definitely worth a watch. You can watch it on YouTube. I think it's in three parts on YouTube in English, as well as there is a Russian version that's a full version, so you can watch it there. Overall, it's definitely worth checking out because it is very good. Like I said, it gives you that feel that you had when you first watched the uncut pilot of Going Bonkers. You know, you obviously had the same artistic team there, CGI rain, everything. The characters, I mean, basically, this allowed things for the Lucky episodes to come full circle. Because, like I said, you brought back Fawn, you brought back Jetters, you brought back Grumbles, who the last time you saw in almost a full-fledged appearance on the show, not any flashbacks, not any flashbacks or cameos or anything like that, but in a full-fledged appearance. The last time you saw them was in the pilot during the Lucky era. Here you got to see them in not only in the sequel, got in here not only did you get to see them full-fledged again in the sequel, the pilot, if you will, to the Miranda episodes, but they got more screen and speaking time, and they actually were able to do something here. They actually did more than just get fired and walk with Bonkers as they're getting captured and all that. They did more. They did more. They were able to do more, and I loved that. I really did. So overall, it's definitely worth a watch. If you ever want to know how the Miranda episodes, even though like production-wise they were made first, why from a continuity standpoint they're last, or they're after the Lucky ones, this episode will answer all those questions. Now the aftermath though about this episode was it was only shown a few times. Yes, a 65 episode rotation. So as you're getting into the 19 Miranda episodes, you're at episode 42. This is basically about the 42nd episode overall before you get into the Miranda ones. And if you can wait 42 days, it'll be worth it. I remember when it came out too, because I think, let's see, 30 days. It came out basically, I think, around the first or second week of October in 1993. And I was living in Kansas with my family. This is about a week or so before we moved back to California due to personal reasons. But I remember it coming on, and I remember watching it. I do remember watching it, and I was hooked. I was amazed by what I was seeing. So I watched it. I enjoyed it. I remember it was around that time. I really do. Then, as the rotation kept going and going, they showed it again. Basically, about almost 62 episodes later, they showed it again, or actually 66 episodes later, they showed it again. So yeah, they rotated it here and there, and then the last time I saw it officially on air was in 1994, and I really enjoyed it, still enjoyed it, and I really still enjoyed it at that time. So it was great to see. It really was, and I remember when it came on. This was at a time when my VCR had just died out on me. I was using my VCR to record some episodes off Disney, off Bonkers, all that, just recording episodes. Sonic Sat AM mainly, and it just died out on me. It just did. So I remember that. I remember the only solution I had at the time was a blank audio cassette, and an audio recorder. So I took the audio recorder, the audio cassette, and I recorded the audio from New Partners on the Block. And I've had that tape. I don't know if I brought it with me or if I left it in Kansas, but I've had that tape ever since. And yeah, it warped a little bit. You know how audio cassette tape gets at times after you've run it so many times. But because I liked the episode so much, I just wanted to listen to it and imagine it in my mind. So, and it's a good thing I did keep it like that, because a little after, as we all know, the following year, the tragedy in Oklahoma City happened, and that pretty much took any episode that involved a terrorist, a bombing terrorist, whatever. Took any episode that had the villain in that position, had it taken off the air. Tailspins, Flying Dukes, gone. You know, New Partners on the Block, Unfortunate Victim, gone. Several other episodes, not just from Disney, but from other shows, gone. That had any villainous or villain character in that category. Now, some of these episodes, after a few years, did manage to come back after time. After a few years, they did get back into rotation. I think New Partners was also going back into rotation as well. And then 2001 happened, and again, just like 1995, any episodes that dealt with bombers, terrorists, whatever, gone. Those were just removed. And I think it was even before that as well with what happened with the bombing in the World Trade Center underneath it, which happens almost not back to back, but almost within the same time frames, years or whatever. They kept a lot of these episodes from all these shows, Disney and non-Disney, kind of off the air until certain time frames, certain time periods would allow them to return. And then, of course, you had the tragedy of 9/11, and that took a lot of those episodes again off the air, as well as some other episodes that were related or seemed similar to 9/11. They took those all off the air. And they were off the air sometimes for good and sometimes temporarily. And if they were, now, unfortunately for some of them, they were only temporarily. Unfortunately for some, like New Partners, they were not. They were just gone. I mean, they exist. There's no doubt about it. They do exist. But they were just gone. That was it. They were done. It's kind of like with Tiny Toons. When the tragic accident that took Princess Diana's life happened, Europe in 30 Minutes was gone. It was taken off the air. It was taken off the rotation, taken off the schedule. Time passed, and I remember about the early 2000s, I was watching Cartoon Network, and they had Tiny Toons as part of the lineup at the time, and on there they ended up showing Europe in 30 Minutes. So it took a while, 3 to 4 years, 3, 4, 5 years before I think that got re-aired again. Overall, the aftermath for New Partners on the Block was not a good one, especially with the tragedy of all these real life events that occurred. But thankfully, there are people out there, like I think her name is Elegant Inquit, who provided me with the variety tape of hers that I sent back to her along with a DVD copy of New Partners that had New Partners on there. It's thanks to people that, even though they live in other countries, are able to put these episodes out there for people to see, even if they're in another language. So, thankfully, you have that as well, so you can keep up with these episodes and watch them and enjoy them. But overall, besides all that, New Partners is definitely an episode to check out, because not only is it a sequel to the pilot episode, Going Bonkers, but it serves somewhat as a mid-season finale / pilot episode to the Miranda era. So I would suggest checking it out, and I guarantee you will not be disappointed. So that's all I'm going to say on it. Let me know what you guys think down below. Talk to y'all later.